Welcome everybody to the Social Dig, the greatest underrated show on the World Wide Web. I am your host, Mr. Rob G. And as always, we're going to be digging into the topics to keep you talking and the talk that keeps you thinking. So come on in, kick your feet up, get an ice cold beverage, get ready to join the conversation. Thank you everybody for coming through. It's a Sunday fun day. We're going to get into some really good stuff today. Derek Galloway say what's up. Bigfoot Littlefoot, what's up? Yeah, okay, let me see. Bigfoot Littlefoot took a screenshot of the number and we'll call you when we both have a few hours to chat. Okay, 46 years of UFO activities, 20 years Bigfoot activity and research. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let's do that. So, with that being said, we're going to have some fun today. Today's topic is going to be top secret government. And what I mean by that is a lot of people out there, a lot of skeptics like to say that the government can't hold water. But they're the top secret government. They've held many secrets, and we're going to display that today. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to end up going over. So we're just going to hang out here for a minute and let people come in. I know I changed the time, so the notification probably went off a little weird, but yeah. So with that being said, I'm feeling good. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Derek? How you doing, Bigfoot Littlefoot? How you guys doing today? Mojave Desert Underground Base, Derek Galloway says. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of rumored places, and there's definitely confirmed places that would be considered top secret. But we're not just going to look at that. There's a lot of aspects to top secret and we'll jump into that and you'll end up seeing exactly what I'm talking about here. But I want to paint a picture for the skeptics, the ones out there that claim that the government can't hold water. So if there was UFOs, this would be out by now. This is one of the main arguing points for skeptics, and we're going to just kind of paint the picture so you can see exactly what type of government you're dealing with. Then it's not just the United States, it's governments all over the world, as you'll find out. So with that being said, I'm feeling good here on a Sunday. Things, coming together real nice. Got some big stuff coming up this week that I'll be announcing, some changes, and show format will be a little different. Man, I might end up having to change a day or two, and then we'll see what's up. But I'm gonna kind of sit on that for a minute. Hey Raymond, thanks for coming through. Brown Dwarf, thanks for coming through. And yeah, so I guess we can just get ready to get this thing started. I always say I'm not gonna go long, but I always end up going longer than I say. So hopefully I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible today, and but who knows? You know how this goes. So all right, let me go ahead and get some things up here. And we're gonna talk about, we have a few news stories, so we're gonna jump into that. So yeah, actually before we even do that, ask the chat, as always, post a response to the question in the live chat or call the message line. That's 856-843-3444, or that's 856 The Dig. You can send pictures of your sightings. You can talk about the topic we're talking about today. Anything you might have on your mind, any suggestions that you have for the show, or just like I say, you can just call and say hi. That's actually a nice thing to do. And we're all family here, so you know how that goes. But yeah, we're going to end up jumping into the news. We got a few people in here, so I don't want to hold you up. Let's get this party started. All right. Disclosure news. All right, disclosure news. So today we have NASA Director of Research named, actually. So NASA had, we saw the hearing the other day. NASA claimed that they were going to hold back on the name of the person that they appointed for the UAP to be director of the UAP research. And then Joe Khalil from News Nation, reporter from News Nation, stepped up to the mic and pretty much put him on blast and said, well, doesn't that go against the whole transparency thing that you guys have been talking about? Paraphrasing, basically. And I guess that put the pressure on them to go ahead and release the name. So they went ahead and did that. So we're going to take a look at that story. Also, we had a tweet from Tim Burchett regarding the ICIG letter that they actually ended up receiving back from his initial response back in August, right after the Grush hearings. We'll take a look at the letter sent and then also the response that he got back. Not really, well, we'll see. And then Jaime Maussan. I don't know if you caught him in the news lately, but reporter kind of got under his skin, and I guess you can be the judge of how he responded. And I don't know, you let me know what you think about that. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into the first story. And I actually let me go ahead and bring this up here. Bring up the actual article. Okay, so, all right, so NASA identifies a UFO chief despite threat concerns. So let me go ahead and just read that off to you here. So NASA named its new director of research charged with investigating UFOs, or what the U.S. government calls unidentified anomalous phenomena, on Thursday after refusing to identify him due to potential threats. Mark McInerney, a previous NASA liaison with the Pentagon, will take on the role, Associate Administrator Nikki Fox said Thursday, hours after the agency announced the new position. Now, as we continue to digest the study team's report and findings, please treat him with respect in this pivotal role to help us better scientifically understand UAPs, Fox said. The role was announced earlier Thursday as a part of NASA's effort to increase its investigations into UAPs. It follows the release of a report from an independent study panel tasked with looking into how NASA can assist ongoing government efforts to gain information on the intelligence of UAPs. The agency declined to release McInerney's I'm killing his name, McInerney's name earlier due to the threat of harassment, given the controversial nature of the UAP investigation. Dan Evans, an assistant deputy administrator of NASA, told reporters Thursday that members of the independent report committee received threats, Politico reported. That's in part why we are not splashing the name of our new director out there, because science needs to be free, Evans said. Some of the incidents rose to actual threats. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson on Thursday called the report the agency's first, quote, concrete action to seriously study UAPs, adding that he hopes the report will transition the conversation about UAPs from, quote, sensationalism to science. They are being tasked with developing and overseeing the implementation of NASA's vision for UAP research, Nelson said of the newly appointed director. We will use NASA's expertise to work with other agencies to analyze UAP. So that obviously is just bookending the NASA hearing or press conference, whatever you want to call it, that we looked at the other day. So they haven't actually obviously had time to move on from where they were. But we already know where they're at with that. You know, like we said, NASA's been on top, supposed to have been on top of this since the 50s, 60s, the beginning of the space age, right? So they have data already in their records they could be looking through. And it's just crazy for them to make it seem like they're starting from scratch. So whatever with that, like we said, we're not going to hold our breath while we wait for it. But if they do come out with something later, then it will be something that we will at least mention and report on. So this is him. This is McInerney or McInerney, whatever his name is. But this is the guy that's going to be doing that. So we'll see if they get any results from that. But don't hold your breath. So next story we have in the news is the ICIG obfuscation. So Tim Burchett put this tweet out yesterday, and look what he's saying here. He's saying, look at the bottom paragraph. The ICIG office did nothing to look into the information they received from David Grush on UAP crash retrieval programs. They have no information they can give to Congress. Cover up. So, when Tim Burchett gets to talking like that, he really feels like they're trying to, obfuscate the information. And we know that, obviously, the government's already been doing that. But for David Grush in his testimony to say that he had given the information to the ICIG, and then for them to come back with what we're about to see here, we're going to go through the document. It just is, it doesn't seem realistic that would be the response that you would get from them. So obviously Burchett is frustrated, but let's go ahead and take a look at the letter that he actually sent out. And that is going to be this one right here. So it's dated August 21st, 2023, to the Honorable Thomas Monheim, Inspector General of the Intelligence Community. Dear Inspector General Monheim, on July 26, 2023, the House Oversight and Accountability Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs held a hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. During the hearing, Air Force veteran and former intelligence officer Mr. David Grush declined to answer several questions in a public setting, stating that the information requested was classified and would need to be conducted in a SCIF at the appropriate classification level. Specifically, Grush could not provide the names or titles of individuals with first-hand knowledge of or direct access to UAP crash retrieval programs. Similarly, Mr. Grush could not provide the names or titles of individuals with first-hand knowledge of or direct access to UAP reverse engineering programs. However, Mr. Grush testified that he provided this information to the Intelligence Community Inspector General's office. Considering Mr. Grush's testimony was under oath, we request answers to the following questions. So the first question is, which intelligence community members, positions, facilities, military bases, or actors are involved in UAP crash retrieval programs directly or indirectly? And then second question was, which intelligence community members, positions, facilities, military bases, or actors are involved with UAP reverse engineering programs directly or indirectly? Please respond to these questions by September 15th, 2023. If the information requested in the questions above contains classified material, we request access to this information in a secure setting no later than September 26, 2023. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And obviously signed by Tim Burchett, Jerry Moskowitz, Anna Paulina Luna, Nancy Mace, Eric Burleson, and Andy Ogles. So, pretty cut and dry what they're looking for. Pretty straightforward. Grush testified under oath means he couldn't lie about the fact that he did give this information to the ICIG. And it's gonna blow your mind to see what the response was, right? So let's see. All right, so this is the response here. So the response that he received back, which I'm assuming this was within the last 2 days, and it is actually written out to all 6 of those same representatives. And they start out with, Dear Representatives Birch, Moskowitz, Luna, Mace, Burleson, and Ogles, I write in response to your letter dated August 21st, 2023, in which you referenced testimony provided by Mr. David Grush at a July 26 hearing of the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border and Foreign Affairs of the Committee on Oversight and Accountability of the House of Representatives regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena. In your letter, you requested that the Office of the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, or the ICIG, answer questions regarding which intelligence community members, positions, facilities, military bases, or other actors are involved with alleged UAP programs, either directly or indirectly. ICIG takes seriously its responsibility to provide whistleblowers with appropriate, secure, and lawful channels for conveying complaints about information to the Congress. The lawful channel Congress established is the urgent concern process found at 50 U.S.C. 3033 K5, which provides a direct avenue for members of the intelligence community to provide information on matters meeting the statutory definition of an urgent concern to the Congressional Intelligence Committees. ICIG also takes seriously its own responsibility to support congressional oversight and does so in the manner specified and required by statute by keeping the Congressional Intelligence Committees fully and currently informed about significant problems and deficiencies relating to programs and activities within the responsibility and authority of the Director of the National Intelligence, or DNI, and the necessity for and progress of corrective action. ICIG also fulfills other congressional reporting responsibilities in accordance with applicable law and provides such information to the appropriate congressional oversight committees. Additionally and importantly, ICIG meets each of these reporting requirements while also complying with the important statutory restrictions that ensure ICIG protects the identities of whistleblowers and other witnesses. ICIG also provides respectful consideration and due weight to requests from individual members of Congress, considering factors such as ICIG resource constraints, competing priorities, and whether doing so would interfere with ICIG's ability to respond in a timely manner to duly authorized oversight requests. As a matter of discretion, ICIG notes that it has not conducted any audit, inspection, evaluation, or review of alleged UAP programs within the responsibility and authority of the DNI that would enable this office to provide a fulsome response to your questions. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding this matter. Sincerely, Thomas Monheim, Inspector General of the Intelligence Community. So he got back a nothing burger, right? And this is the kicking the can down the road thing that we talk about. So if they're going to do that to the Congress, you know, what chance does any average person have in extracting any information out of them? I mean, it's what do you do? What do you do in this situation? What's Tim Burchett's recourse when his response is, you know, pretty much just saying they have no information they can give Congress, cover up. So, you know, this is when you see Tim Burchett in the interviews and it seems like he's down and he doesn't believe disclosure is going to come. And it's because he understands that they are going to put those roadblocks up and they're going to pretty much try to squash this out. So I'm probably going to have to take that disclosure heating up off, because it appears that once again, just like last year when we had the momentum, it seemed like things were going to bubble over. They're doing the same thing this year. So that'd be 2 years in a row. And it just goes further to prove the point that their whole goal is to kick this thing down the road, and they'll do it as many times as they need to either get you disinterested or to waste your time essentially. And then obviously the news outlets, and then people who are actually spending money to stay on top of this, they're gonna lose interest as well, and that's what they're hoping to do. Is like it appears to be an organized movement to kind of get us off of this momentum that we're on. So hopefully, what I'm hoping for is that, and what we're going to need is we're going to need like a Corbell, or we're going to need somebody who has something that they can release to go ahead and just release it, leak it at this point. You know what I mean? You're just going to have to do what you have to do. But that's the only thing that's going to break this thing wide open. We're going to need those whistleblowers to either come forward. It's going to have to be somebody bigger and better than Grush that has more firsthand knowledge or information, and hopefully somebody that's willing to take one for humanity. Because the way that I feel about that is, and I would do it if it was me on the inside and I had the opportunity to expose the information based on the situation. I would take the chance and do it, even though the result could be me being incarcerated. Because the thing that I would believe, and the reason why I would do it, is that I would think that humanity, as far as just maybe not everyone, but at least a good strong group of people, would be behind something like that, because it does, it's for the benefit of humanity. So I would kind of roll the dice on that one, and hope that everybody would stand up for me on my behalf and try to help me fight being locked up. And just want to say that because, the people who have the ability to do this, sometimes you have to just be that, take that risk on me. And it's not just for humanity, it's for your own grandchildren and your lineage down the line, the world that they end up inheriting. And you can have a big effect on what type of world they inherit. So anybody out there, hopefully we get people that end up watching this, that have the ability to do something of that nature. Please do it. And Jeremy Corbell, you have these videos, dude. Please release these videos so we can go ahead and pump this thing back up. We have to show them that they can't do things like this and stomp out the momentum. We have to show them that this isn't going to be stopped. So that's my rant for that. But what we'll go ahead and do now is go ahead and take a look at Jaime Maussan. This is hilarious, actually. This guy had a pure meltdown, and from what I understand, he's on a Peruvian news station right now, and that's going to be important because this is in closed caption, so it's going to show you English. So read along with this and understand that the reporter's Peruvian, they're in Peru, and Jaime Maussan is currently in Mexico while they're doing this interview. So let's go ahead and take a look at this interview, and we'll go from there.
Perú, ¿usted cree que no es una acción ilegal? ¿Sacar esas momias del Perú y llevarlas a México no le parece que es una acción ilegal?
Le voy a repetir una cosa, compañero. No lo hice yo. A mí no me diga ni me amenace de que yo no lo hice. Procedan en contra quien tengan que proceder. Yo no tuve nada. Lo único que
¿Y nos puede colaborar con el nombre de la persona que las tiene?
Yo creo que sea un delito haberlas presentado en el Congreso de mi país. Eso no es un delito.
No, eso no es un delito. Haberlas sacado del Perú ilegalmente sí es un delito.
Yo no las saqué. Yo no saqué unas piezas que no quería ni hacerles caso. A ver, ¿por qué no me hicieron caso cuando fui a suplicar al Ministerio de Cultura?
Pero no pasa por un tema de hacerles caso o no hacerles caso. Sustraer piezas prehispánicas en este país, Perú, es un delito.
Procedan como tengan que proceder. Yo no he cometido ningún delito. Lo único que hice fue presentarlas y les ha dolido hasta el alma.
No, lo que nos ha llamado la atención, lo que nos ha llamado la atención, lo que nos ha llamado la atención es que no es dolor, señor Maussan. Lo que nos ha llamado la atención es cómo se han sustraído las piezas de Perú y cómo se han vendido como si fuesen seres no humanos. Eso es lo que nos ha llamado la atención.
Realmente el Ministerio de Cultura ha hecho un trabajo lamentable que ahora se quiere cubrir en salud. ¿Sí? Se quiere curar en salud, como decimos acá. ¿Sí?
¿Nos cuenta quién las tiene ahora o no?
Yo no las tengo, no, claro que no.
¿Pero quién las tiene entonces?
Las tiene la persona que las tiene aquí en México.
¿Y nos puede dar su nombre?
Porque creo que no me escucha. Yo estoy de acuerdo en que estas piezas regresen a Perú.
No, pero primero
Siempre
tenemos que llegar a quién las tiene, pues. ¿Quién las tiene?
Yo no las tengo. Yo no las tengo.
Pero sí sabe quién las tiene, pues ¿nos puede decir quién las tiene?
No sé quién las tiene, pero no sé quién tiene las otras 18.
No,
Sé que
le
tiene
pregunto
la
por las dos.
Universidad de Ica. La Universidad de Ica tiene 2.
Le pregunto
De
por las
estos-
dos que tienen allá. ¿Quién las tiene?
¿Eh?
Le
No
pregunto.
sé, yo no sé quién las. Mire, yo no sé. Esa persona pidió el anonimato. Yo no voy a violar eso. Yo soy periodista y me reservo la información.
Muy bien. Bueno, ya llegaremos a quién las tiene. Gracias, Jaime Maussan, por esta
Pero digan la verdad.
entrevista.
Terminen por decir la verdad.
A ver, díganos cuál es la verdad.
Ya no
Explíquenos.
digan mentiras.
¿Cuál es la
No
mentira?
engañen al pueblo de Perú.
Pero usted,
¿Ok?
dígale la verdad a la gente. ¿Cómo vende eso como
Estoy
extraterrestres?
cansado de participar en la investigación.
¿Cómo señala que esos son extraterrestres?
Yo
¿Ah?
no dije que eran Usted lo está diciendo.
Usted también lo está diciendo ahora, que usted piensa que son
No lo estoy diciendo, yo le
extraterrestres.
dije que yo pensaba.
Ah.
Yo le dije que yo pensaba, no afirmo, no lo puedo demostrar. Lo que sí puedo demostrar es la investigación científica que tenemos que ustedes quieren ignorar.
¿Y quién hizo esa investigación? ¿Quién?
¿El ADN no le parece que es una investigación científica?
No.
Es la reina de todas las pruebas, compañero. La reina de todas las pruebas.
¿Con qué sustento científico? ¿Con qué sustento?
Compañero,
Lo ideal, acá hemos hecho la misma prueba y lo que hemos llegado como conclusión que es un fraude.
No es cierto, no es cierto.
Aquí hemos llegado a la misma
No es
investigación
cierto, no han
hace
hecho
5
nada,
años.
No han hecho
Y que
nada.
es un fraude
no han hecho
eso.
nada, no han tocado estos cuerpos. No los han tocado.
Bueno,
Sigan engañando.
la manera más fácil para que no engañen a nadie más es entreguen las
No van a
piezas.
lograr nada con el
Entreguen
engaño.
las piezas.
Pues la gente de Perú
Entreguen
que
las
haga su propia
piezas.
opinión. Que haga su propia opinión. y que se
Nadie
dé
les ha
cuenta
creído eso de los extraterrestres.
Yeah, so that happened, right? So obviously, if you didn't catch what was happening, so the Peruvian reporter is telling Musan, just starting off in the beginning of that he needs to return, that it's illegal essentially for him to remove those from Peru and take them to Mexico. And asked him where they were, and he said he didn't know where they were. That I guess someone else had them, and essentially and I guess prior to this video earlier, before, I didn't have the earlier clip, but they were insinuating that he could be charged for taking these things out of Peru, and then they got into talking about the fact that these things essentially aren't real and that he's committing a fraud. And you see how upset he gets over this. I mean, he's super irate. And usually that happens when someone has a guilty conscience. So, I mean, you could probably, I still would say for science, if it's still open for scientists to do the samples, I would still say do that because you need to do your due diligence. And just what everybody's talking about, the scientific method. So that should still be open for somebody to do, but just in the court of public opinion, with his response in this fashion, you could probably almost guarantee that this thing is not real. The reporter said specifically, hey, we tested these things out 5 years ago, and it was a hoax, and essentially you saw at the end, called him a fraud. So speaking pretty frank, that's what a lot of people have been saying. That's what I led with at first, and still kind of sit with that. These things were considered to be a hoax when this first came out. However, if it's still open for scientists to take samples, I would still say do it. That way we can scientifically say this guy's a fraud, and then move on with our lives. So pretty interesting. If you are sincere about what you're doing, that's not how you respond. So with that being said, I think that's all we have for the news. So let me go ahead and get us out of the news here. And All right. So what we can do is I'm going to put the chat question out there, and you can leave it in the live chat, or you can leave it in the comment section later. So let's go ahead and
ask the chat.
All right. Has the momentum shifted in the push for confirmation? Are you feeling, with everything going on lately, how are you feeling about it? You can answer now, or you can leave it in the comment section of this video, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that stuff. Now, personally, my opinion is it does appear the momentum has shifted. I mean, I think it's pretty evident with the high that we were on going through the summer with the Grushes. And like I said, I think Grush hurt himself a little bit by doing the interview that he did in such a lax manner, answering questions that are really serious, and just wasn't the setting for that. So a lot of bad things back to back to back have been happening here on this road to disclosure. So, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because we know sightings happen every day. We know that these things are definitely here. We know that somewhere somebody's catching something on film. So hopefully, we dream for that mass sighting, that Phoenix Lights moment, that aerial school, 2023, where we can get, something really big solidifying where we're at in this and just get this thing over with. Otherwise, like I said, I'm looking for a Corbell or somebody like that to go ahead and drop some of these videos, man. You know what I mean? Prove to those people out there that call you a grifter, and prove that that's not the case. Prove that you are willing to release things and not for profit, and that you aren't just doing it to be like self-serving. So I'm going to be optimistic and hope, but we can only do our part, and this is part of what we're doing here. So with that being said, we're going to get into top secret government, right? So top secret, classified, everything's classified. Everything's classified. And we're going to go down a list of things because, like I said, we have skeptics out there that Neil deGrasse Tyson and all these guys that say, there's no way the government they can't hold water. They would never be able to hold a secret like this. This is too big. Something would come out. Well, I'm going to give you some examples. We're going to look at where, it took time for certain things to be uncovered and be declassified. And when you really, one by one, incident by incident, you don't really think about it. But when you paint the picture of how often or what type of things governments around the world have been involved in, and you look at it on one plate, you put everything on your plate, then it really, the niceties and the government that claims that we're all free and we're transparent. I mean, I think by the end of this, well, you can make up your mind on it. So we're going to go ahead and get started with facilities. So we broke this down into a few different categories. So we're going to look at facilities. So we have top secret facilities, obviously all over the globe, in places that the government, if not for some sort of whistleblower or some sort of investigative journalist, these things would not have ever even come to light. And with that being said, we're going to start off with what they call it's been called Area 52, right? So it's a Dugway Proving Ground. This is a place where they test artillery, and it's a artillery field. However, there's speculation that some of the activities that had been reported at Area 51 have actually moved over here, in Dugway Proving Grounds, I believe, is in Utah. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this. Now, Dugway Proving Ground was established during World War II. Dugway Proving Ground was created to provide an isolated testing site for chemical and biological weapons. Its vast expanse spanning over 800,000 acres made it an ideal location for controlled experiments. Dugway specializes in testing chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense systems. Its facilities are equipped to assess the effectiveness of protective equipment, detection technologies, and decontamination protocols. Now, Dugway's primary mission is documented, but there have been persistent rumors suggesting that there's the existence of undisclosed programs. Now, those speculations revolve around the testing of advanced or classified technologies. So essentially what we found Area 51 to be doing, essentially almost the same thing, but Dugway Proving Grounds still hasn't technically been outed for what they are doing outside of it being a testing range. But this is going to be, and you'll end up seeing here, this is going to be one of many facilities that potentially have covert things going on, that we are unaware of. So Dugway Proving Grounds, potentially currently a top secret, facility doing things that we don't know about. So going into the next one, and I didn't know about this one actually. This one is this site is the Yuma Proving Grounds, and I've never heard of the Yuma Proving Grounds. However, with the Yuma Proving Grounds, apparently it was established in World War II, and the Yuma Proving Grounds were created to serve as a comprehensive testing site, once again, for artillery, munitions, vehicles, aircraft, and other military equipment. The Yuma Proving Ground is known for its extensive testing ranges that encompass over 1,300 square miles of desert terrain. It is a critical site for evaluating the performance, safety, and reliability of various military platforms. Now, similar to Dugway, Yuma Proving Ground has also been the subject of speculation regarding the existence of undisclosed programs. These speculations often involve advanced aerospace technologies, classified weaponry, or experimental military platforms. We're just going to jump into the next facility here, which is going to be obviously the one everybody knows about, Cheyenne Mountain Complex. That's out in Colorado. So the Cheyenne Mountain Complex was built in the 1960s and is a fortified underground facility located in Colorado. It serves as the command center for the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, and the U.S. Northern Command, or U.S. NORTHCOM. The complex is designed to withstand nuclear attack and houses critical defense systems. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex, publicly acknowledged as a military facility, gained prominence in popular culture due to its depiction in movies and television shows. Its role as a center for NORAD and early warning systems has been known since its inception. Next one, and I hadn't heard about this one, but this is the Menwith Hill Station. So Menwith Hill Station is a U.S. listening station located in the United Kingdom. It's operated by the National Security Agency, or NSA, and is known for its large radomes that cover satellite communication dishes. The facility is involved in global signal intelligence operations. Menwith Hill Station has been known to the public for decades due to its distinctive appearance. However, specific details about its intelligence gathering operations were confirmed through investigative journalism in the late 1970s and 80s. So, yeah, I mean, if you saw that, obviously you think something was going on. But with that being said, these are dotted all over the globe, right? So, and we have no need to know of what's actually going on there. It takes things, just like I said there, like investigative journalism. So you have to have someone either looking into it. Obviously, somebody was willing to speak about, the things that were going on at this particular facility. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because we have as well one that I know Maggie M10. She's out there in Australia. So this is Pine Gap. I think she said it's a few hours away from where she's at. But Pine Gap, Australia is actually a U.S. base that's located in Australia. And the Pine Gap is a joint U.S.-Australian defense facility located near Alice Springs, Australia. And it's operated by both the NSA and the Australian Signals Directorate, or ASD. And the Pine Gap is involved in signals intelligence, missile launch detection, and satellite tracking. Pine Gap, known since its establishment in the late 1960s, gained public attention due to its strategic importance in global intelligence operations. Its exact functions were revealed through investigative reporting, once again, and satellite imagery analysis. Now, this just shows that obviously this isn't within the United States government. This is actually the Russia's equivalent of one of the sites that we actually looked at here. And it's a two-part thing, because the mountain that you see over to the right, the mountain area, which is called the Yamantau Mountain, and then the city that you see right there to the left. So these are going to be two separate things. However, they support each other essentially. So with the Yamantau Mountain is actually a Russian underground nuclear bunker complex located in the Ural Mountains. It is rumored to be one of the most secure and secretive military facilities in Russia, with extensive underground tunnels and chambers. Now, reports about Yamantau Mountain began circulating in the 1990s, with claims about its size and capabilities. However, specific details about its functions and status remain subject to speculation. And then this is Mezgori, which is the town that I just showed you to the left. Now, Mezgori is actually a Russian secret facility located in the southern Urals. It's rumored to be a closed military town and is believed to house significant military infrastructure. So this little town here is actually a private city. It's not on any of the Russian maps. You cannot get there by road, according to what I looked at when I was looking into this. So this is just a closed off military town, totally private. It didn't state what the population was, but it supports the facility that's supposedly in that mountain there. So, these things are dotted all over the globe, right? So how many undisclosed top secret facilities do you think are actually yet to be uncovered? These are obviously only the ones that we know about. And that's not even all of them. I actually left a lot of them off the list because we have different, there's different sections that we're actually about to go through. But yeah, I left a lot of them off the list, and these are the ones that we know about. So what do you think about the ones that we don't know about? So when we go back to the governments, they can't keep secrets from us. They can't hold water. These dudes live for secrets. They live for secrets. Yeah, Terry Hall, hey, thanks for coming through. Dugway is in Utah for sure. Maggie M10, hey, and there we go. She said, okay, it's a 26-hour drive to Pine Gap from where you are. Okay. All right, Long Island Bigfoot, thanks for coming through. And there's multiple on Long Island and the surrounding islands, exactly. And that's the thing. So these, once again, this is just facilities, and we're talking about the ability to keep secrets from the public, just facilities. So we're going to get actually into closeout facilities. We're going to actually get into top secret programs. So a huge load of facilities. Now we're going to get into some of the programs that at one point we didn't know about. Some of them have been outed. But then by the end of this, we're gonna paint the picture of how secretive these governments can actually be. So with that being said, we're gonna jump into programs, and one of the most famous top secret programs, probably number 2 on the list under extraterrestrials, obviously, and crash retrievals, is going to be none other than what? The Manhattan Project. They did this right under our noses, right? So the Manhattan Project was a U.S. government research and development program during World War II aimed at producing the first nuclear weapons. It involved top scientists, engineers, and military personnel. The program remained highly classified until after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August of 1945. In 1946, the project was officially declassified and the details were made public. So, Manhattan Project ran top secret from 1942 to 1946. So, and obviously they probably could have obviously kept the secret longer if they hadn't dropped the bomb. That's essentially why the cover got blue on this. But, once again, next to extraterrestrials, crash retrievals, this is probably one of the biggest secret programs that you could think of. And actually, during that whole 4-year period, nobody had a freaking clue what they were doing. So are they, we know that they haven't admitted the extraterrestrial crash retrieval. Grusha said that this is a fact, but this is going to show the skeptics that, yeah, you can keep secrets, and until they're ready to let you know, you probably won't know on a lot of these things unless we have people that come out and speak on them. Now, the next program, top secret, it was top secret, went on right under everyone's nose. This one is going to be MK Ultra, right? Everybody knows about MK Ultra now, but you didn't know then. So MK Ultra ran from 1953 to 1973, so 20 years before it ended up being uncovered. So MK Ultra was a CIA program that aimed to explore the potential of mind control and behavior modification through the use of drugs, psychological manipulation, and other methods. Now, in 1973, the program's existence was first revealed during congressional investigations into CIA activities. Sound familiar, right? Sounds like what we're doing. Documents related to MK Ultra were discovered, and the program's details were brought to light. And not only was it a secret program, obviously, they were putting people they were just experimenting on people, which is kind of ridiculous, right? When you think about it. So it just shows not only that they could hold that secret for 20 years, but they could also subject their people, the people that they supposedly care about and support. This happened in America, obviously, so I'm going to speak on behalf of America. So when we sit today and we go to them and we say, hey, do you guys have UFOs or crash retrievals of biological bodies? And they're like, no, we don't have anything. We would tell you the truth. Then you point back to something like MK Ultra and you say, nah, man, we're not going to stand for that. And we're not even close to being done. But just what we've already looked at is enough to tip the table as far as the good boy image that, our country likes to portray. Yeah. So we're going to get into a few more, and we're going to get into some that are actually more troubling than this. So with that being said, the next project, top secret, we didn't know, Stargate Project. So the Stargate Project, this one ran from 1978 to 1995. And the Stargate Project was a U.S. government program that focused on remote viewing and psychic phenomena for intelligence gathering purposes. It involved experiments in extrasensory perception, or ESP, and clairvoyance. The program was declassified in 1995. It initially came to public attention through a series of investigative reports, including a 1995 story in the Washington Times. There's a theme here. Most of the ones that did come to light came through investigative reporting. But the problem is today, a lot of the journalists that we have currently aren't like journalists of old that would get on a story and dig into the story until they got some results. We only have a couple that seem to be pushing the issue like that. So, and it's kind of, it just makes you think. Magneticus says, those were the mind control projects after Ultra. Yeah. Stargate. Those are definitely connected. He says, teach me to make spoonbender remarks in a Minuteman silo. Yeah. But point is that what you're going to see is the government is full of secrets, dude. Like, they are full of secrets. So next time a skeptic has the nerve to say they can't keep a secret that's big, then I want you to point them to this video so that they can get an understanding of how secretive, and not just ours, governments across the globe, and some of them working in unison, working together, which we'll see in some of these coming up examples here. So the next one that we have, and this one was kind of disturbing. This is one, I know everybody was familiar with this one, and we didn't know this was going on, and this was actually happening for a pretty long time as well. And this was the Project Echelon. So, actually, yeah, Project Echelon. So let me go ahead and go into that. Now, Echelon, which has been running technically since the 60s and is still running through present day, is essentially a global surveillance network operated by the intelligence agencies of the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and is designed to intercept and analyze communications. The existence of Echelon was first publicly disclosed in the late 1990s, so 30 years at least running before it was ended up being disclosed, and it was disclosed by investigative journalists and intelligence insiders. So Project Echelon, for example, this was, if you recall, back right when the Gulf War, not the Gulf War, but right after 9/11, when we had gone into Iraq, they were able to intercept calls from certain members of the Taliban, and this is how they did it. And obviously the technology behind it is a secret, but it allowed them to be able to, with certain keywords that were being said in a conversation, it allowed them to tap into that or monitor that particular conversation. So they would actually, depending on the word that was used, they would pick up on a lot of the terrorist leaders and things that they were talking about as far as moving weapons. That's back when they were looking for weapons of mass destruction, if you recall. So, but it's still being used to this day. It was implemented in the 60s, and it's just another thing that they have that we didn't know about, that they were able to keep the secret for at least 30 years before, I think it was Colin Powell actually ended up giving a report, or actually what he did was played a phone call that had been intercepted from one of the terrorists. This is when they were just trying to rile up support for the war in Iraq. But with that being said, another secret. just a common theme here, right? So the next one that we have here is Project Aurora. Now this is just more of, you know what this is. This is a triangle-shaped craft, potentially, supposedly, and this is just being worked on by one of the contractors out there. But if it's a real thing, and I guess time will tell if this thing ever comes out, then when did this start? The rumor started on this back in the 80s. So we'll just say 80, right? So what is that, 20, 40, 44 years so far? If this thing turns out to be real, then it would be at least 44 years of a secret kept by the government, and just to show you, right? So we have Roswell, this 75, 80 years back. So this would be pretty close, to proving that a secret can be held for that long, right? So we're just really making a case here that secrets can be held by our governments. And let's see, Magneticus says, remember Echelon being a bootable word in Microsoft Networks. Why we call drugs Nacho Supreme with extra chives. And let's see. The machine thought we were just ordering Taco Bell. Yeah. So with that being said, we have this one was pretty. This one is pretty deep, man, when you think about this one here. So this is Operation Mockingbird. So Operation Mockingbird, which ran from the 50s to the 70s, looks like, before it was exposed. So Operation Mockingbird was a CIA program that aimed to influence and manipulate media outlets and journalists to promote certain narratives and agendas. In the 1970s, investigative journalists, particularly Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post, revealed details about the CIA's covert influence on the media. This included the recruitment of journalists to write favorably about CIA activities. And so, this has been talked about today, right? That the CIA potentially is still doing this at this point and controlling some of the major outlets, right? That aren't reporting on UFOs. That they determine what type of news comes out and how America is portrayed globally through movies, articles, and it gets pretty deep, right? So if you think about it, this is a long list of nefarious sort of activity by governments worldwide. When you look at all this, and then you look at, let's do a list next to this of positive things that they've done for humanity and ways that they've helped us move things forward. And that's going to be a short list, especially when you compare it to this. If you had to say, okay, these are the things that they do versus these are the good things that they do, and you had to make a determination at the end of the day of what type of character, personality traits that these governments have, then I think, this is the picture that we're painting today. So, and it's kind of shocking. I mean, even right now, if we were to stop right now with all the nefarious activity and the secret keeping and the essentially lying in some cases, you would end up coming to the determination right now that, hey, maybe they're not as straightforward as we think. And yes, they can keep secrets. So with that being said, I think that was the last one in the secret programs. And I had to cut this list too, because there were so many other secret programs. But it got into some political stuff, so I wanted to kind of keep some of the stronger ones. But the next section that we have here is continuity. Now, this one is cold. This is the government, the continuity of government, right? So the government cares for the people, right? Government cares for their citizens. That's the message they portray. They would be transparent with you. They would never deceive you. They would never ever do it. So the continuity of government, these plans are strictly for the government. So in the event of some sort of calamity, whether it's World War III or whether it's some sort of game-changing event that affects the globe, we'll say like asteroid, right? Asteroid impact would be a big one. WW3, and I couldn't think of anything else. Or let's ET invasion, right? ET invasion. If they're malevolent and they come here and they're obviously more powerful than any of the governments on this globe, and they just decide to turn up the heat, this continuity of government plan goes into effect, and you're going to find out that you're not included in this plan. So with that being said, we have a few places where they might go when this all goes down. So we're going to look at Mount Weather. These places are potential or supposed to be classified. Some of them are just well known, but they have those blast doors on there, and they're going to close those doors, and you're going to be on the opposite side of those doors. So first facility we're looking at is Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center. So the Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center is located in Virginia, is a highly secure and fortified underground facility. It serves as a continuity of operations site for various government agencies during national emergencies, including nuclear incidents or other catastrophic events. And the existence of Mount Weather as a government continuity facility was publicly acknowledged during the 1950s. Its role was confirmed through various declassified documents and limited official statements. However, specific operational details remain largely classified, which is understandable. It's pretty obvious, but they have another one, which is Raven Rock Mountain Complex, also known as Site R, is an underground military facility located in Pennsylvania. It serves as an alternate command center for the U.S. government, designed to facilitate continuity of government operations in the event of a major crisis or nuclear war. Raven Rock has been acknowledged for several decades as a critical component of the government's continuity of operations plan. However, specific details about its operations, capabilities, and internal layout remain classified. So just another place that's not for you and me, or pretty much anyone else that's outside of the government. Only select few are going to be able to go into these things. So this here's one of the most famous ones that got outed. This facility was built in the late 50s, then ended up being publicly disclosed in, I believe, the 90s. But this is the Greenbrier Hotel. It's a historic luxury resort in West Virginia. It contains a secret underground bunker designed to house members of Congress in the event of a nuclear attack. The bunker includes living quarters, a medical facility, and communication equipment. The existence of the bunker at the Greenbrier was publicly disclosed in 1992 when the Washington Post published an article about it. Prior to this, its existence was a closely guarded secret. The facility was built in the late 1950s and remained classified for decades. So decade sounds plural, sounds at least like 30 years, right? So 50s, so it's about 40 years. 40-year secret only uncovered by a reporter, and it was by happenstance. People have been going to this hotel and this resort for years. They were walking right past. It was a false wall that people walk by all the time. And now that it's been uncovered, they show you, the blast door, and it was right there the whole time. People walking right back and forth, back and forth. And there's a secret facility right behind this false wall. Crazy. But they're doing this right in front of your face, and there's no room for you there. This isn't built for you. You know what I mean? So these are top secret, anti-humanity. All this stuff is anti-humanity. Every single thing that we've talked about so far doesn't benefit you or I, and only benefits people on that side. So you got to ask yourself, man, I mean, this is not looking good, man. Well, you can tally up the score at the end, but it's really not looking good when it comes down to top secret government activities globally. And this is our version of this. There's this same version of continuity of government in every single major power around the globe. Every country has one. So we also have, and I didn't know about this one. This one's actually pretty interesting, and this just goes to show. So this was hidden in plain sight. Obviously, this one here, the Greenbrier Hotel, but so is this one. And this one is, let's see, this one's Peters Mountain Relay Facility. Let me check the chat real quick before I tell you about this one. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Why wireless energy didn't become popular until they figured out a tax meter for these wireless phones. Exactly. Government cares about those tax dollars. 19th Amendment made ethanol in motors illegal, says Magneticus. Derek Galloway, get ready. They're about to attack their globe again with bioweapons and catastrophic weather. Magneticus, now you can get a tax break for putting ethanol in gasoline in South America, then selling the mayonnaise fuel in North America. Derek Galloway, remember the movie Greenland with Gerard Butler? Yes, pay attention, right. Magneticus, not another common cold crisis. Watch out, rhinovirus. Magium 10, we're being told by the weather experts that this summer coming is the worst El Nino conditions ever predicted or seen. Yeah, and that's right, because you're in Australia, so you guys, your summer is in our winter. Wow. Magneticus, just remember the 3 pigs. People in government service like using bricks. And Derek, they have a great virus killer spray at Dollar Tree. It works excellent. Tell me what that is. I'm at Dollar Tree all the time. Got a 95% grain ethanol. Been killing coronavirus since the 1920s. And Magneticus, mayonnaise fuel is about water-based fuel not mixing with oil-based fuel. Okay. Check this out. So the Greenwood, what was it? The Greenbrier. So the Greenbrier Hotel, just in plain sight, they actually built that while people were still attending the hotel. So they didn't shut it down or do any of that. They just told people they were building an additional wing, or they made some excuse. People bought that story, but they built that bunker right in front of their faces. Now this one tripped me out because I hadn't heard of this one. But this one, I'll just tell you what it is and kind of see if you notice something in the image here. But it's the Peters Mountain Communication Relay Facility. So the Peters Mountain Communication Relay Facility is located in West Virginia, serves as a key component to the government's communication infrastructure. It plays a crucial role in ensuring reliable communication during emergencies and national crises. The facility, known for its role in communication and continuity of government operations, has been acknowledged for several decades. However, specific operational details, including the technology and protocols used, remain classified. So this thing right here, and the way that this is what they were doing, if you notice in the lower right corner, the logo there, right? This thing, oh, you can't see my arrow, but you see a round sphere. So you know what brand that is, right? That's AT&T. So this thing fronts as like an AT&T relay communication center, but essentially it actually houses a top secret government facility, right? So they don't want you to know it's there. And you have to ask yourself, I mean, America being like the top country on the globe militarily, they're not going in these bunkers because of boots on the ground invasion and you know, so what are they doing? They're doing it for only a couple reasons. That would be the reasons that we outlined before, and it's not essentially to not be affected by, you know, radiation or things like that. First and foremost, is probably designed to keep you out, to keep you out on the other side of that blast door, right? So I got to ask this question. We see all these facilities for continuity of government. Is that the only thing that's important? All right. And then where are the top secret humanity continuity continuity facilities? You know, for you and me, where are those at? Are there any? Are there anywhere that we would be able to go in a situation where they have to go to their bunkers? Is there anywhere that we get to go? Or, you know, I'll let that marinate on you, and it's not looking good, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at I think we have this might be the last part of this, but we're going to assess everything once we wrap this up. But this is continuity, which we just did. Now, top secret government cover-ups. This is another piece of that puzzle. So what do we have? We had the facilities. We had top secret programs. We had top secret continuity, government continuity centers, essentially. And then now we're going to look into top secret government cover-ups. This is going to be where it really is, and when we'll put it all together in a minute here. But looking at that, we're going to, obviously, one of the biggest ones is Roswell. Known cover-up. We know they initially came out and said crash disk. Next day changed it to crash weather balloon, trying to keep it from the public, secret. Mike Jones, thanks for coming through. So what the Roswell incident refers to an event in 1947 when reports emerged of a crashed unidentified flying object near Roswell, New Mexico. Initial official statements attributed to a weather balloon. Over the years, declassified documents and witness testimonies have fueled the speculation about this incident. Some believe it was part of a classified government project, while others think definitely extraterrestrial. The Roswell event remains a central element in, UFO lore, essentially. This is one of the biggest UFO cover-ups. This one here is the Watergate scandal. So, just another situation where they done things under the radar that we weren't ever supposed to know. And with the Watergate scandal, it was the obviously political crisis that emerged in the 1970s. It revolved around a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. Investigative journalism, particularly by reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post. Again, the Washington Post was on fire, uncovering stuff, it looks like, played a pivotal role in uncovering the extent of covert activities within the Nixon administration. The scandal ultimately led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon in 1974. So yeah, it does appear the Washington Post was on fire. I don't know what's going on with them today. I wish they would attack the UAP, UFO effort and investigate just as, good as they were doing back then. But like I said, journalism has changed. Then it goes back into the Project Mockingbird again, where you have CIA out there trying to alter the narrative. So Mike Jones, let's see. Oh, Bryce's Folly, thanks for coming. We'll call in, but I'm late catching up. Don't worry about it, man. Let's see. We're just really painting a picture on the top secret government, and it's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. And I want all skeptics to view this video when we're done and just see next time you even try to fix your mouth to say that the government could never hold a secret. They just wouldn't do that. Anybody who, I'll save it. I'll save it for later. So let me see. Mike Jones, how to explain Nazi UFOs 2-3 years after they supposedly lost. Yeah, I'm going to probably do a show about that. I don't like putting spotlight on those guys, man. They were pretty horrible. So the Watergate was the CIA setup in coup against Nixon, who was digging into JFK, right? Nixon was roommates, a personal friend of JFK. Okay. Now, this next one here is sickening. This is actually sickening that they would do this. But if they had MK Ultra, look at what the government did. Secretly, didn't tell a soul until it was forced to come out. It's gonna blow your mind. The Tuskegee syphilis study. I'm just let that sink in for a second. So, the Tuskegee syphilis study was a medical research study conducted by the U.S. Public Health Service between 1932 and 1972. 40 years, essentially. 40 years, no one knew, top secret. It involved withholding treatment for syphilis in African American men in Macon County, Alabama. The exposure of the Tuskegee syphilis study came to light in 1972 through the efforts of a courageous whistleblower, Peter Buxton, who leaked the information to the press. This revelation prompted widespread outrage and led to significant reforms in medical research ethics. Amazing. We the people. So anyone, and I know I keep saying this, but I just want the skeptics to understand, dude. Understand who you're dealing with, right? A lot of people live in their protected bubbles. Things are, their lives are okay. They're getting by. They may not have everything, but they, they trust and believe in everything that the government says. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust, and believe in your government, but at the same time, you have to realize who they are, right? They're not just our government here in America, but governments across the globe. They've all done things of this nature, and on this scale, and have kept it secret. And these things, everything that we've covered so far, eventually came out. Some of them haven't, but in a lot of these cases, you see that something like an investigative journalist cracked the story, or a whistleblower finally came out. If neither one of those things happened in these cases, these would still be secrets to this day, and you can bet that. you can bet that everything we just looked at would still currently be a secret if we didn't have a whistleblower come out and say something, or an investigative journalist doing their job and getting the story out. So this applies to current day journalists and current day whistleblowers. It's history says that we need you guys to do your job. So if you're a journalist, we need you to get your boots on the ground and go out there. These facilities Grush is talking about, these are physical places. We need journalists at those fence lines. We need, you know what I mean? We need investigative journalists doing that type of work. And then whistleblowers. A lot of these whistleblowers, I don't know what the repercussions were for some of these people, if they got in trouble for outing some of this stuff. But the point is that throughout history, you see it takes someone to get out there and do it. So hopefully we get that in this situation. I think Grush currently is the closest thing we have to having someone from the inside doing exactly what some of these people have done. But we're going to go ahead and get into the last one real quick here. This one is still in the air, but it's been in the news recently. So I don't know if maybe we're at that point where this finally gets uncovered. But this one is going to be the JFK assassination. JFK assassination. So 1963, 60 years and going. This one is 60 years and going. So, you know, we had the Secret Service person come out, I think within the last couple of weeks, and talked about the bullet, the magic bullet, and you know, I don't know how that's going to end up turning out. Maybe this is the beginning to that story finally having a close to it. But this story right here, obviously everyone should know about this, but the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963, Dallas, Texas, remains one of the most studied and debated events in U.S. history. Kennedy was fatally shot while riding in a motorcade. Despite numerous investigations, the conspiracy theories persist regarding potential government involvement or cover-up in the assassination. Various official and unofficial inquiries have been conducted over the years, each with its own conclusion and interpretations. These top-secret government cover-ups represent critical moments in history that have shaped public perception of government actions and trust in institutions. So the question would be, if these things can be covered up, wouldn't you think the ETs and the ET craft, the biological bodies, would be covered up too? That's the question. So at the end of all this, and if it comes out, obviously the government had any involvement in that. I don't know if they did. You know, I'm not big into conspiracies, so depending on actually how it comes out, we'll see what happens. But if it's you know, if you have to evaluate, so we're doing an evaluation now, because that's the last category when it comes to top secret government. So we've covered cover-ups. We covered the cover-ups where they wouldn't have told you what happened unless the story came out or it was leaked. We proved that. We showed that. We have the government continuity, which shows in every situation, it shows that if something hits the fan, then there's places for them to go. And it's funny because those things are built with our money, right? Our taxpayer dollars, and we don't even have a place to go for continuity, right? So, and then we had the top secret programs like the MK Ultras, where they're running tests in the Tuskegee, the syphilis study, where they're doing experiments directly on us, their citizens, right? Not looking good. And then obviously the top secret facilities where, once again, our taxpayer money is going to do who knows what because it's classified and they won't tell us. So for you skeptics out there, take a look at this. This is a good one for you guys to look at and maybe you'll have a different outlook on what the potential could be. Like, man, if you look at this, then hiding UFOs and what David Grush said doesn't sound too crazy. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I know that that's what that is, but let me go ahead and check the chat. We lost Mike Jones. Mike Jones, thank you for coming through, though. I appreciate you. And let me go back. See, Maggie has some good stuff here. And yeah, Mike Jones, those guys are scum, man. Yeah, they are. Maggie, seems to me it's also compartmentalized within the need to know structure. It really doesn't seem that hard to keep a secret. It isn't. People I don't know where they get that data from that secrets can't be held by the government. I don't know where the data comes from. Everything we just looked at says the total opposite of that. So Magneticus, to blame every German for what a few did sounds racist. Yeah. And we wouldn't be, so when we say that, we're not talking about Germans. I love Germans. I love people from all over the globe. I don't like Nazis. So if that's what you are, if that's what you identify with, then yeah, I'm not with that. But Germans are lovely people. So, and I don't think Germans identified themselves as Nazis, actually. So I think that's probably a pretty derogatory term to use with them. So, Mike Jones, don't you see anyone blame on Germans? Is German blood himself? Yeah. They're two different things, man. At that Florida experiment at Avon Park, Magneticus, Karen at the Chumbucket gets upset if you're, it's not a good word, man. It's horrible. Later Jones, Magneticus, death experiment was the punishment. 1990s, always remember the manual on how to safeguard secrets. Magneticus, when authorized by the president, an occupied building could be burnt to the ground in order to maintain national security. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, you have to look at this and see, like, dude, do they really have your best interests at heart? And that's kind of what, if they would, do they care enough about you not to lie? No, obviously. Are there many cases where they have kept the secret and could have kept it forever if a whistleblower, a journalist didn't intervene? Yeah, many cases as we see. So like I said, make sure you show this to those skeptics out there who the first thing out their mouth is, oh, the government couldn't keep a secret. Show them this episode and we'll change their mind on that. Now, with that being said, we're going to go into our Once Upon a Time in Ufology, and we're going to keep it themed with Top Secret and what we've been looking at today. So let me go ahead and get us into Once Upon a Time in Ufology. And it's going to be Area 51 exposed, right? So this, there was a point when Area 51 was obviously been there for a while, but was denied by the government of it even existing. And that's another thing. So something that we're seeing with our own eyes, they turn right around and say, no, it doesn't exist. No. Yeah, I don't know what you're seeing. It doesn't exist. I think that's pretty crazy too. It just shows how do they think about you at the end of the day. So, Area 51, nestled in the Nevada desert, Area 51 looms as a quintessential emblem of covert government operations. This classified military stronghold has intrigued the public's imagination for decades. The revelation of Area 51's existence sparks discussions on transparency, national security, and the potential for encounters beyond our terrestrial realm. Since its inception in the 1950s, Area 51 has been shrouded in mystery. Its primary function was veiled in secrecy, giving rise to myriad speculations from the clandestine military endeavors to investigations into extraterrestrial phenomena. The steadfast denial of its presence by the government only fueled the public's intrigue and spawned a tapestry of conspiracies, casting an aura of fascination around that facility. Area 51's connection to unidentified flying objects and extraterrestrial involvement contributed significantly to its mystique. A wealth of first-hand accounts, leaked documents, and insider testimonies alluded to the facility's role in the analysis and potential reverse engineering of unidentified area phenomenon, or UFOs. In the recent years, there have been a notable surge in the divulgence of information regarding Area 51. Declassified documents and statements from former government officials have affirmed its existence and its involvement in confidential military initiatives. The government's recognition of Area 51 marked a pivotal juncture in the history of the facility's secrecy. In 1989, Bob Lazar divulged details about Area 51 to the world, and in 2013, the U.S. government confirmed the facility's existence through declassified documents released by the Central Intelligence Agency. This declassification signified a significant shift in the government's approach to acknowledging the presence of Area 51. So that right there is another example. Area 51 was built in the 1950s. Bob Lazar comes out in 1989, so we'll say we'll give it 35 years. 35 years of its existence, unknown, completely top secret. Bob Lazar comes out and says, "Hey, there's Area 51. I work there. They're reverse engineering ET craft, and potentially I saw an alien body there." So people started going down to the fence line and going up on Tickaboo Peak and like Glenn Campbell and our good friend Jim Goodall, and taking pictures of the facility, like right there, sitting right in front of their face and taking pictures. And from 1989 all the way up to 2013, so there's like 24 more additional years, they just denied its existence still, even though you could see it. So pretty crazy that could even be a thing. So they can lie about something you can see, they're gonna lie about something you can't see. That's the top secret government, and unfortunately that's the current world that we live in. So I don't know, man. I'll leave it up to you to see how you feel about that, how you think about that. But I think this doing this kind of painted that picture to show overall, as like I said, individually, if you just say, okay, they did this and then walk away, it doesn't seem that bad. But when you look at all the different cases and different situations and really think about what the outlook has to be to act in those ways towards the citizens, it kind of shows you true colors. And I think that's what we got today. So Magium 10, that was a great interview with Mr. Jim Goodall. I appreciate it. That guy is a legend, and I loved having him. We were here for 3 hours, and it seemed like no time at all. So I want to give him some room to breathe. Like I told him, we got to know him, and I just want to have fun with him on the next time I have him here. So we'll be doing that soon. Now, with that being said, we're going to jump out of, you guys know what time it is. We're going to jump out of science fiction to science, or Once Upon a Time ufology, jump into science fiction to science fact movie edition. And we're going to keep it themed with what we've been talking about today. So, the movie that we have today, not necessarily UFO related, but it is government related. And that movie is going to be Enemy of the State, which is a movie that I love. I mean, I remember when it first came out, and the type of information that you were getting from that, just being surveilled by satellites, and kind of ties into, they were definitely doing that, Google Maps sort of thing. Street, we have Google Maps satellite. They were doing exactly what you saw in this movie way back then. And it was this movie that actually brought this to our attention. Like, hey, they can do that. They can just zoom in on you on the street anywhere that you're at. We had no clue prior to this movie. So when you look at this now with the new lens, it actually ages pretty well. I mean, and it's, when you look at this compared to current day, this kind of like foreshadowed a lot of stuff. It kind of makes you think if the director of this film had any insight on a lot of those things, if maybe this is a Mockingbird sort of situation where they're tipped off by the CIA or somebody from the inside that have the need to know. But definitely a great watch. If you haven't seen it in years, like me, I haven't seen it probably in at least 10 years, then I'm going to actually end up watching this weekend as well. So with that being said, let me go ahead and take a look here. Magneticus, hopefully you can have him on again. Yeah, no, he's definitely down to come back. I don't know if you can see. Actually, let me grab this here. Mr. Jim Goodall sent me this beautiful, beautiful book. Beautiful book. And it is so detailed. He even signed it off to me in the beginning here. I don't want to show off too much, but just so you know, this book is worth every single dime. So I would say go support Mr. Goodall. Definitely a lot of good information in there. I've been thumbing through it, and I totally recommend that you guys go out and get this book. So 75 Years Skunk Work, Lockheed Martin by Jim Goodall. You guys should definitely go get it. Now, with that being said, this has been Science Fiction, the Science Fact Movie Edition. And Maggie M10 says, yeah, she watched that one. It was a blockbuster movie. And sounds like movie Eagle Eye, Magneticus. I knew about leaded gasoline prohibition not being about health. And Maggie M10, I have to watch it again. It's a good movie, man. Props to Will Smith, Gene Hackman. And like I said, just the technology that they displayed. A lot of people didn't know. This was like a shocker to everyone who watched it. Like, wow, the government can do that. And that kind of goes along with a lot of the other secrets that we don't know. We looked at the ones that have been uncovered at this point, and we went across a lot of them, ones that they would have never told us, but the stories were broke. Just imagine about all the secrets that they still have currently that we may not know for the next 20 or 30 years because we don't have the need to know. One of those for sure is extraterrestrials and crash crafts. You can guarantee that. And skeptics, you can take that one to the bank. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get us ready to go as we get up out of this Science Fiction and Science Fact Movie Edition. And yeah, we're going to get ready to wrap this thing up on a Sunday. So let me get this going here. Totally love that you guys came to hang out with me on Sunday Social. We do this for the positive progression of humanity, like we say each and every show, because it's the truth. That's what we do. No gimmicks, no fluff. And sometimes we have tough conversations here. It just happens. I mean, you have to. If you're going to be real with yourself, and, if you're going to be not living in a bubble and you really want to get where we're trying to go, there's going to be tough conversations along the way. What we're doing here is laying that groundwork. So love it or hate it, it's the conversation that has to be had. This goes in the catalog. We'll move on to the next show. That's how we'll do it. Now, here's what I will say. You guys are going to be seeing some things happening soon. So you're gonna see your boy, here and there, and some different things that we have going on. I'm supposed to be going to check out a movie premiere, and work a red carpet event for the movie From the Shadows, coming up here on Tuesday out in LA. So your boy should be on the red carpet, and we'll see what happens with that. And then a lot more coming up. So you guys stay tuned. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Let's go ahead and go through the chat. And thank everybody for coming. Magneticus, I appreciate you coming. Mikey's Beach, thank you for coming. Maggie M10, thank you for coming. Let's see. Mike Jones, appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Bryce's Folly, appreciate your time. Derek Galloway, thanks for coming. Let's go ahead and go back. Long Island Bigfoot, appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Terry Hall, Mr. Terry Hall, thanks for coming through. Bigfoot Littlefoot, appreciate your time. Brown Dwarf, thanks for coming. Raymond, appreciate you. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. So yeah, it's been a great Sunday evening. I appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with me. Once again, I'm going to give you the numbers: 856-843-3444 or 856-THE-DIG. Viewer call-in message line. Leave your thoughts on today's show. Leave thoughts on topics that you want to cover. That's very important to me to know that we're covering things that you want to see. So please don't hesitate to call that number. Leave some thoughts, and we'll go ahead and take a look at those and make sure we do those for you. And yeah, you can also call to just say hi. Like I said, it's cool to say hi sometimes. Sometimes that'll brighten a person's day, and I would love to hear from you guys. So outside of that, you'll be able to catch these episodes on Spotify and iHeartRadio. Mr. Rob G, this is The Social Dig. Appreciate you guys for coming through. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, y'all.